Hey everyone, I'm Tassenix, and welcome back to my third video on the Gungan faction, this time highlighting the mods for Gungan Boomadier. I have covered in the past about Boss Nass and his impact on the rest of this team. I will just briefly read off his leadership ability, but for full details on how his kit affects the entire team, check out his video. Gungan allies have plus 30% protection. Ooh, I gotta turn on the music here for you guys. I like that in the background. So yeah, Gungan allies have plus 30% protection and offense and plus 30 speed. Whenever a Gungan ally attacks out of turn, they inflict speed down for 1 turn. The first time each Gungan ally drops below 50% health, they gain 50% bonus protection for 2 turns. If there is an allied shield generator, whenever it loses a stack of recharge, Gungan allies gain 1% max protection, maximum of 50%, until the end of the encounter. If the shield generator is defeated, Gungan allies gain just gain 50% turn meter. At the end of each Gungan ally's turn, they remove a stack of recharge. And if all allies are Gungans at the start of battle, you get a shield generator. So yeah, like I said, I do cover about the shield generator and how the rest of his kit impacts the team. Check out the Nass video for full details. Before I jump into Boomadier's kit, just a brief note about turn order, since you folks usually ask. I have Boss Nass over Binks, over Phalanx, over Boomadier, over Tarpals. You want this guy taking a lot of turns because he has like a turn meter swap. He's just got a whole bunch of goodness for the rest of the team. He's also got one of the few abilities that actually restores the shield generator's shield stacks, so extending the life of your generator. We'll cover that. But yeah, this is the turn order that I go for. And again, it's Phalanx over the 2 attackers because he has an AoE tenacity down that his AI will use on its first turn if you set this on defense. All right. Let's jump into Boomadier, and we'll start with his unique, since it defines the rest of his kit. At the start of battle, like all other Gungans, Gungan Boomadier loses 75% max health and gains that much max protection. Gungan Boomadier has plus 30% defense penetration and offense, so that's 30% from this and 30% from the Nass League. While an allied shield generator is active, enemies defeated by Gungan attackers can't be revived. Whenever Gungan Boomadier uses a special ability, gain 5% defense penetration and offense, stacking persists through defeat for the rest of the battle. While a Gungan ally has retribution, they're immune to target lock. Okay, so that's a crazy amount of power built into just this unique, but he gets all this percent offense up front and then goes on to stack offense and defense penetration further. All right, his basic. Catch this. Deal physical damage to target enemy. This damage is tripled if the enemy is shocked. Tarpals does shock on his basic. He might not be the only source of shock, but he's certainly one, so that's how you would probably get that advantage. And then he gains speed up for 1 turn. Note that this doesn't say that this only occurs on his own turn, so this will happen if he's called to assist. He will gain that speed up. All right, his first special. Cluster Booma. Deal physical damage to target enemy. Deal an additional instance of damage for each offense down, defense down, healing immunity, and speed down present on target enemy. Maximum of 5, effects total. Always deal 5 instances of damage to separatist enemies. Remove 1 stack of recharge from the allied shield generator per instance of damage. Alright. It's a pretty good ability. It's pretty straightforward. It's a heavy nuke to 1 character. It does very serious, nasty stuff. And you saw how this is going to be with him just stacking offense. All right, Horn of Otagunga. This is the most fun. Probably one of the most fun abilities on the team. Deal physical damage to all enemies. AoE physical damage. And inflict ability block on them for 1 turn. Separatist enemies are inflicted with protection disruption, which can't be copied, dispelled, or resisted for 2 turns. Remove 3 stacks of recharge from allied shield generator, and it gains 2 stacks of plasma shielding. Swap turn meter with target other Gungan ally, and Boomadier gains frenzy for 1 turn. And in case you forgot what Frenzy does, it's a buff. It can be Dispel, but it says that whenever an ally character uses a special ability, he gets a bonus turn. So the Frenzy buff only lasts for 1 turn. You'll only get 1 use out of that, but it's going to push this back around all the more. Target other Gungan ally gains accuracy for 2 turns. And yeah, that's what makes this one so fun. You have the turn meter swap, AoE, damage, and ability block, the protection disruption, and you see why it's so important that you would have the tenacity down applied by Phalanx ahead of this, right? You really want all of this to land. So it's important. A note about clocking, and I'm working on the math exactly. I haven't sat down and actually do the calculation, but since if you're doing abilities off rip that are going to call allies to assist, then let's say all allies assist. Boomadier is going to put speed up on himself, right? I'm just worried about, I think I've seen it before in Conquest where he can end up, even though I have him clocked behind Phalanx, I've seen him, I think, get ahead of Phalanx, so I'm going to have to fiddle with that and test it. But you might want to check for yourself in a Galactic Challenge battle or in Conquest, wherever you're comfortable, trying to make sure that your turn order is coming out right, because you do want Phalanx to go ahead of Boomadier for this reason. He will use Horn of Otogunga on his first turn. We want to get our full value from that, so that's the idea. Okay, next, let's go ahead and talk about the mods themselves. I do have a couple players pulled up here that I'd like to highlight. So let me go ahead and minimize here and get down to that. Okay, so first is Aesop Rock. He's got his 319 speed. So again, it's all about that turn order I mentioned earlier, but as fast as you can make him with a crit damage triangle, certainly offense sets, because we see all of this offense synergy throughout the team. So our attackers are definitely running around in offense sets. No surprise. Crit damage triangle, offense cross, of course a protection circle. Now, the 2-piece here is health, and that's probably strictly the best 2-piece because you have that conversion from max health to max protection. We have a stacking protection on this team, bonus protection, blah, 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 blah. So that makes sense. We see that his potency is about 70%, so he doesn't need a lot of help. He'll probably be able to apply most of his debuffs on his own, but you really want that tenacity down to help along, because with all the offense and speed you want to bake into this team, you only have so much stat budget to assign. So even though more potency to make sure of his attacks landing would be nice, look at this. 11.2k offense. I mean, you go as high as you can, but this is screaming. The higher you can push this to take advantage of that multiplier. All right. I think Zid has something pretty similar. His is not quite as fast, same kit out. He did go for the potency 2-piece, just to have as close as he could to the 100% potency that you would ideally like to have as a bare minimum for any character that is applying debuffs. So that's a good one. See that it costs him, though. You know, a little more than 1,000 offense difference between him and Aesop. All right. Still pretty much the same configuration, primary-wise. And of course, my own is actually probably the slowest of the bunch. But I wanted to make sure I had very high crit chance. So I'm over 75% crit chance because of this great secondary here. But I am a little slower than I would like. The issue for me is that I have my Phalanx only so fast, and that speeding up Boomadier threatens that. So it's something I have to balance out. But you can see that I went with, protection, circle, same primaries, 11.3k, strong offense, very strong crit chance rating, same crit damage triangle, and an incidental, about 15% potency added. Again, really leaning into being able to apply those debuffs through tenacity down. Okay. As far as applications go, guys, I did cover this in greater detail with the Boss Nass video, so again, I'll point you to that. But just as a brief scroll, your kind of designed to stomp on Separatists, so I would not be surprised that whatever the Separatist team you find on defense this season, if you're saving this for attack, it's going to do it. DTMG is going to be easier than it was last season because there is no DTMG cron now. That has expired. A lot of stuff that doesn't really merit consideration. Yeah, Inquisitors might be interesting to try because people were four-manning this without a Gungan cron, while there was an Empire cron giving a ton of offense into this Inquisitorius team. So there's probably some meat on them bones. Otherwise, yeah, you're just stomping. You're just overpowering stuff at this level. So this is just based on the 5 versus 5 data from the end of the last season where the Gungans came out in that final week. Very limited stuff, but hopefully this gives you some insight about how to make use of them on offense. For me, they're going to be mostly on defense. I think they're a greater challenge there. Anyways, guys, I'm having a lot of fun making these mod guide videos, and the feedback from you all has been overwhelmingly positive. Thank you so much. If you're enjoying these videos, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel to see more, and until next time, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care.